All right. Well, then tell me when we're ready to go.
We are.
All right. Hello, everyone. We're not dead. So, hello.
He is dead mentally.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your confirmation.
Anyway, so we're back. Henry, me, and Baggy.
Excellent.
Yes, who's
Hello.
back? Back
Back
again.
again.
Shady's
Tell a friend.
back. Tell
Oh
a
my
friend.
gosh.
Hello, friend.
Beautiful. Yeah. Hello, everybody, and thanks for stopping by. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been 6 months.
Kinda wild. Oh boy.
Alright.
It feels like it's been not as long as 6 months, but I suppose it has been. Which really puts everything into perspective. How quickly this year has gone by for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Baggy, how are you?
I mean, I'm doing all right.
Good.
I'm still alive, surprisingly enough. I've grown a beard.
Ooh. That's always
I
fun.
do not look as epic as Gandalf, and I do not smoke the devil's cabbage. So,
Thank you
Yeah.
for that. For clearing that up. I really needed. Was
I
really
mean, I
curious
look
about
more aligned, to the pilot from Infinite. So,
that. Oh, that's good. You can
Unfortunately, I don't
cosplay.
have a hologram lady to cry over.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
Yeah, I'll be smoking that devil's lettuce now, ain't you?
Oh,
Alright, so let's get on with the things. So, I put out a tweet, as I usually do when we do this stuff, on a bunch of topics. So, we're going to go through Razi's things he wants to do for this, because he has a bunch of them. He has 4 of them.
Yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's as of yesterday. It was their birthday, so it's gonna it's a little belated, but happy birthday there, buddy. Just a little thing
happy
to them.
birthday.
Oh, actually, today's their
Yeah.
birthday.
Oh my gosh, it's today. Oh jeez,
Ah.
Louise.
Well, this
That's
podcast,
right.
this podcast will be
Yeah.
coming out afterwards, but we're recording this on your birthday, Razi. So happy birthday!
That's
Happy
also what I was
birthday.
thinking. Yeah. Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into his first then to celebrate his birthday. First topic is thoughts on this year's Game Awards.
A lot of people, gonna be honest, I didn't really watch it because I was at work, but I heard the aftermath as I usually do. My Twitter generally fills me in on this kind of stuff. So from what I understand, a lot of people are upset because they feel like some of the votes were, or the votes, the winnings were kind of unjustified. Am I correct in this, or do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like the fact, it was mainly the fact that a bunch of games are not. First of all, Doom Eternal didn't win anything.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that.
Yeah. Second of all, most of the awards were won by The Last of Us Part 2, and a lot of people over this year have debated that game's quality. I'm not going to get into that, but people have people have debated that game's quality. But even then, some people have brought up a good point that it's a bit annoying that pretty much all the awards went to that game, and most of the awards didn't go to other games that you could argue are more worthy and more deserving of the awards. And also, most of it was boring. The only 2 things I liked throughout the Game Awards, because me and Baggy were watching it, the only 2 good things to come out of it was we saw new gameplay of Nier Replicant, which is awesome.
Ooh, that's good.
And Yakuza 3 to 6 are coming to Steam.
Oh, sweet.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that. Because the one thing that I've been doing, this whole pandemic issue is, playing all these bunch of games that everyone else has and I haven't. You got me into Devil May Cry, didn't you?
Yeah.
Haruka, which I never played. Well, I mean, unless you count the shit reboot, but we don't want to go into that. So that's been fun. I'm currently playing through the Ezio trilogy at the moment.
Oh, cool.
So that's good. But hopefully I can play Yakuza soon.
Yeah. Apart from that, there was the new IP that's being made by the same guy who made Dead Space. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
I heard
interested
about
in
that.
that.
But I don't know if you guys saw about that. I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same thing. It apparently takes place in, and I quote, the PUBG universe.
You've got to be fucking
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah, yeah. I made a tweet about that. I was like, the what universe? Hello? But somebody corrected me, and I don't know if I don't know if they're just joking around or if they're being serious, but um apparently there's like comics and stuff for PUBG and stuff. Maybe I'm completely wrong in this, but apparently there's lore to it now. So that just goes to show how out of touch I am regarding PUBG. But regardless, why? I don't really see the appeal in setting a universe in something like that. I don't understand. Maybe I'm not really at liberty to say, considering I know such little about the topic, but just seems a little strange that you would make a game for that. But hey, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
I
Yeah.
mean, the thing that I'm happy about, even if that is the case, which I think is fucking stupid, I'm happy that at least Glenn Schofield, if that's how you pronounce his name, I'm
Yeah.
happy that he at least gets to make his spiritual successor to Dead Space, because there was an interview a few years back, maybe 2 years back, where he was being asked, like, hey, if you got the chance, would you make a Dead Space 4? And he was very, very open to the idea. And even though this isn't Dead Space 4, it is, if it is going to be similar, to Dead Space, then I guess he kind of got what he wanted, and I'm happy for it. I'm happy for
Exactly.
him.
While we're on the topic of spiritual reboots like that, Back for Blood is like the Left 4 Dead. I think it's called Back for Blood.
Yeah.
Or am I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
losing my mind? But it's yeah, a spiritual sort of reboot for Left 4 Dead because it's made by some of the people who made Left 4 Dead. And it's got a similar concept, 4 survivors versus waves of zombies sort of situation. So I'm excited for that. I haven't seen a whole lot on it and haven't read too much into it, but I think I'm interested in it because I do like Left 4 Dead. I'm a pretty big fan. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
any
mentioned
sort of
it.
game like that.
Yeah, I mentioned it in my Left 4 Dead review. I'm not plugging anything. I'm just saying. Um,
There we go.
I mentioned that they were like, they were making like a spiritual successor and everything like that. And I'm glad that we actually got a look at it. And you know what? It looks fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of seen games like that many times before, but I mean, as long as they execute it right, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
My only concern with it is like, is it going to be lasting as long as, say, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2?
Hmm.
How long is the support going to be going on for?
That is a really good point.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Left 4 Dead 2 get like a DLC update or something in like the first time in what 8 years?
Something ridiculous like that. Yeah, I got a little update. I haven't actually played it yet, so I can't speak for its quality. But from what I've heard from, trustworthy people, I've heard it's pretty good. So yeah, I
Nah,
mean, content for a game as old as that, content's content at the end of the day,
yeah,
right? You can't really complain about free content coming
yeah,
for something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But apparently that whole thing that they're doing is Valve kind of testing the waters with future updates for previously existing games and stuff like that, and community driven updates and stuff. So
Mm.
yeah, if that worked out, they're gonna consider doing more. So I'm actually kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I mean that's actually kind of cool. I mean, the one thing I appreciate Valve, or the thing I appreciate about Valve the most is, when they, there was that Half-Life remake and everything like that, and I was, a part of me is thinking, I guess when they were developing it, they were a bit nervous about, cease and desist and all that type of shit. But Valve was just like, no, we're gonna put that shit on the market, and we're actually gonna put it in the Half-Life collection.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's nice. I mean, I don't want to spoil, Half-Life Alex, but hopefully with the success of that game, something relating to Half-Life 3 comes out.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
well,
Hopefully.
one would hope,
Hopefully.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite sad that game didn't get a single award, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I
see
think
what
it
you
won
mean.
Best VR game.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
did it
was
actually? Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so it
Oh,
won.
that's
It
good
won
then.
something. So yeah.
All right. I still think Doom Eternal was Game of the Year. Which I actually did buy, by the way, just in case you didn't know, Henry.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I did get it. If you want to know my thoughts.
Yeah.
Controversial take, but at first I didn't like it, but then as I kept playing it, I thought it was bloody fantastic.
Yeah, I see. I can. That's totally fair. I honestly didn't really enjoy Doom 2016 as much as I thought I would. I'm a pretty big boomer shooter fan. I just like shooters in general, really. I like the fast pacedness of it, but I don't know. Doom 2016 didn't quite grasp me as much as I thought it would. As much as I thought it would. And when I finished it, I was like kind of satisfied, but at the same time, I was like, "Oh, finally, I'm done. I can say I finished Doom 2016. That's cool. The multiplayer was fun, but the one thing I was worried a little bit about Doom Eternal as to whether or not I'd like it, but I really enjoyed Doom Eternal. Like it's arguably one of my favorite shooters ever now. Probably for shooters, I'd say probably in my top 15, and that's saying a lot considering I played quite literally hundreds over the 21 years of my life of my lifespan. But yeah.
Yeah. Doom Eternal is great.
It's fun. Yeah. It's just Haruki, you've brought this up a few times on how you're nervous that now, Xbox owns Bethesda and everything.
Yeah, that concerns me on how they might handle
Yeah.
Doom. We'll just have to wait and see on that. Yeah.
All right, next question.
Yeah. All right. Next question is most anticipated game, movie, or TV series for 2021.
I don't really know.
Yeah, you know what? Most anticipated movie. I don't even know. Like, I'm sure there's something. I'm sure there's something, but I just can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. Let me pull up the old Google here. I'm just gonna go through some pages of upcoming things to see what I might be able to.
Oh, actually, I got one. Actually,
Yeah.
The Dune remake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's gonna be good. I wonder though, with how most theaters are shut down still, is that just gonna be? Have they mentioned that being like direct to fucking like?
What Warner Brothers
HBO?
have done, what WB have done, they're basically all their movies that have been slated for 2021 will be on HBO Max, but they will also be in theaters as well.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, another one. I can't believe I fucking forgot this. The Matrix 4.
Oh.
The Matrix 4.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for games, it's probably honestly, the only game that I'm really excited for is Halo Infinite. There's a few like games that I've been keeping my eye on, but honestly, like I have trust issues with games now because like there's so many games that come out with all these promises, and now I'm like, I don't know if it's just me like getting older over the last like decade or something. Because when I was like 15 or 10, I was just head over heels for every single game, so excited for everything. But now I'm like so cynical and so like, you watch, it's gonna be awful on release. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna function. I don't know if it's me growing up or just like the games kind of not being as good as they promised, and expectations being high as well. I don't know. I'm not hyped for too many things nowadays.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was one little game that came out, very recently that was a buggy mess. I can't remember what it was called, but it was
Oh, jeez,
I can't remember.
We
I think
we can
Cyberpunk 2077.
I want to discuss that later.
yeah,
There's
yeah, that's.
there's a lot I have to say about that.
Oh, he's got a lot to say about it. Oh no.
Cyberpunk 2077. Yep, that's what it did to all of us.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. We got a lot to talk about.
Also, if we're talking TV stuff or movie stuff, I'm gonna go with, I guess, the only thing, like, whenever I do these sorts of things, I always think about it, like, prematurely, and I can never think of anything, and then I'm in the podcast, and I can only think of a few things, and then, like, a month afterward, I'll, like, be watching the podcast, and then I'll be like, oh, Henry, you fool. You had like 30 things you were excited for, but you just totally forgot. But for like a movie, I guess Godzilla versus Kong, kind of cautiously optimistic to see that. I don't know. Might be good, might be awful. Who knows nowadays? And then the Halo TV show. And that might be awful, and that might be okay. What else?
Witcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a few other things, but I think that's some of the highlights, I guess.
Yeah. In terms of most anticipated game next year, I'd say for me it's Resident Evil 8. Really looking forward to that. Because see, the thing is, with Resident Evil 8, the direction they're taking that game, it could either be one of the best games in the series or one of the worst games in the series, depending on how well they execute a lot of the things they're doing.
Interesting.
Like with Chris Redfield supposedly being the villain now, that could either be one of the best decisions for the series or one of the worst. So we'll have to see how that turns out. I'm interested to see how that game goes because I liked Resident Evil 7, even though I wouldn't necessarily say it's a Resident Evil game. I really enjoyed that game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Resident Evil 8. But then again, it's Capcom, so I don't know.
Yeah, and Capcom hasn't had the best year this year, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, special edition. Funny guys. Messing that up. Thanks.
And Resident Evil 3 Remake. Fuck you.
Yeah, I don't get it, because last year you had like two of the best games of the generation, DMC5 and Resident Evil 2. And now this year it's like, okay, so you have Resident Evil 3, which is a disappointing remake of Resident Evil 3. And then you have Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, which is a terrible re-release of the game. I don't get it, Capcom. Anyway. So yeah, I'd say Resident Evil 8's my most anticipated. I'm looking forward to Halo Infinite, obviously. That game's probably going to be really good.
Yeah.
Let's hope we're all alive by then, by the time it comes out.
Yeah, I'm very glad they delayed the game. There's no feasible way that could have released with the state that I was in.
And I was the fool that kept thinking it was coming out in spring.
Have you guys seen the new release date for it?
Yeah, it's in fall, I think.
Yeah, fall/winter. You know what? I feel like they should take as long as they want for that game. If they're really trying to sell it as quote unquote like the Halo game, they just need more. They just need all the time they can get. Really, I don't mind waiting until December of next year or even longer, January, February of 2022. I know a lot of people are upset about that, but like honestly, I'd wait another year if it means getting like the game with everything in it, like the definitive way to play Halo. If that's how long I gotta wait, then yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I trust. I mean, I read the big statement. I read the big update and stuff like that. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I didn't. There were like technical stuff I didn't really understand, but in terms of the main stuff, like considering it was coming from Joe Staten himself,
Yeah,
I trust his words.
yeah. He's yeah. If there's anyone that I'm gonna trust, like not to be mean, it's gonna be Joe Staten. I feel like Joe's got a pretty good track record of just like not really screwing things up often, especially as of late. He's been really on a good track record of everything.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of the best people to bring back on from the original kind of Halo team. And there was a little interview with him the other day where he said he played the like the almost finished Halo Infinite campaign, and he was like, "Yeah, this is like some breathtaking stuff." So I hope he's not. I hope he's not just hyping it up. I really hope he's genuine in that statement. I mean, every game developer and every company has to hype up their game a little bit, but
Yeah.
I do trust him. So hopefully this is all really gonna be something fantastic. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm a little more optimistic than I was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I was perfectly fine with what we saw, in the gameplay trailer completely. I was perfectly fine with it. I didn't have any issues. I mean, yeah, with the little, but glitches a little bit distracting. Yeah,
Mhm.
but everything else was perfectly fine. I think to me the biggest thing that caught my eye in that statement was when he said this. When Joe Staten said, "This is the Halo that we wanted to make back in 2001."
Yeah, that I
And
think we're talking about the same article. It's
yeah,
yeah.
and that kind of made me go, "Oh," because if you remember back in, was it the 2000 trailer? And I guess maybe that's what he's talking about, but obviously due to technical limitations, they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, speaking of technical limitations, I think my final concern for Halo Infinite is just the fact that it's still being made for it's being made for, newer gen. Obviously, it's made for Xbox Series X or whatever it's called these days. I haven't quite been keeping up, I'm gonna be honest, but it's it's being made also for the Xbox One,
Yeah,
which is a little concerning that I feel like if a lot of people now are bringing this topic up because of Cyberpunk, in the sense that it's like, okay, well, it doesn't run well on Cyberpunk doesn't run well on PS4, and stuff like that. So why is Halo Infinite gonna be any better on Xbox One, a console that was, I believe, made in 2014, 6 years ago? It's I feel like it's very unnecessary. But like
mm,
I understand where they're coming from because they want to sell a lot of copies, they want to make sure everyone's happy and everything, and that's fantastic. But if that's gonna mean sacrificing the graphical limitations of a game that's for a 6-year-old console, I don't know, man. It just seems it's a little off-putting. I'm not gonna lie. But then
well,
again,
I guess my
sorry.
counter to that, yeah, sorry, I guess my counter to that is that you got to remember Cyberpunk and Halo Infinite are two completely different games with two completely different goals.
Yeah, that
You
is
know?
also true. Yeah, that is a good
Um,
point.
and you've got Microsoft backing the project, whereas Cyberpunk was backed by just the developers themselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, you kind of just think, okay, well, with Microsoft backing them, of course they'll do everything that they can to make it run. I mean, look at Red Dead Redemption 2. I keep bringing this up every time people keep bringing Cyberpunk up, but look at Red Dead Redemption 2, right? One of
Mhm.
the best looking games ever, and it runs pretty decently on the Xbox One and PS4. Yeah, some little hiccups, but you get a consistent experience, and that's
That's
one of
true.
the best looking games ever.
Yeah.
It looks
I
better than
also
Cyberpunk.
And it looks better than Cyberpunk. That's
I also just feel bad for the developers because the amount of work that they're putting into Halo Infinite, not even like just the game, just the amount of ports that they have to do for one game. They're doing a PC release, and I'm assuming that entails, considering it was on the Steam page, I'm assuming Steam and Windows Store. So they're making that, and then they're making it for Xbox Series X, and then they're making it for it's called the Series X, right? That's the
Yeah.
new console. Yeah. I just want to make sure because I've seen people throw like other words around, and I live in fear of being outdated and old and
Yeah.
crusty. But
Xbox isn't good at naming their consoles.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, really, they're really falling off their rocker. But anyway, freaking yeah, they're making it for all these different consoles from all these different generations. So they're gonna probably have multiple teams and multiple people just working on all these different consoles, going back and forth, making sure, hey, does this work on PC? Okay, cool. Does this work on Xbox One, a console from 6 years ago? Yes. Okay, fantastic. It just feels like a bit of a development nightmare. I feel like they're gonna do what they did with freaking Master Chief Collection, where they had a team dedicated to it, and making sure the ports went all well. But like even then, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of time and money going into this, and it's ambitious. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just wanting a good game. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
people know, people know my stance on 4 and 5. I just want a good fucking game for once.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and I will be fair. There are some little qualities in 4 and 5. I'll say that. The 60 FPS on H5 is very much appreciated. I like that a lot, but there aren't a whole lot of positives I can really give those games, and that's from the heart. That is genuinely from the
Forge
heart.
is really good in 5. Multiplayer is really good. There's a lot of post-launch content.
Yeah, the updating and everything like that was good. It's just I'm not really a multiplayer guy. In fact, my taste for Halo multiplayer has kind of dwindled a lot, over the years, and I'm just more campaign.
Right, but they still did all that.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm just staying, yeah. So, Joe, I trust your words, and I feel that you and your team will deliver a good game.
Hmm.
So yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What's the next question?
Next question. How do you usually spend Christmas holidays? Which part of them is your favorite and why? Is there a special tradition in your family? I'll go first because I have the most boring answers. Uh, I don't do anything special for Christmas. My favorite part of it is, I guess, food and presents. And I don't have any special traditions in my family. So there we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
You go.
All right. I don't really have any traditions. I mean, unless you count watching Elf every Christmas, which we kind
Oh
of,
God. Oh
which we've
fuck.
kind
I
of
just shaved like
broken,
5 years off of my lifespan.
which we have broken because we haven't watched that movie in 3 years.
Oh, phew.
But
Oh my
my
gosh.
dad got it on DVD, so we will be watching it.
You
I
better.
couldn't do it. I couldn't do
Yeah.
it.
Oh, and stuffing our faces with mince pie.
Oh, there's that as well.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward because obviously now that we've got Disney Plus now, and the one thing I'm looking forward is to watching some old House of Mouse Christmas specials with my little brother that I used to watch years, nearly 20 odd years ago now. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah, not really much really on that.
Cool.
What about you, Henry?
For me, I do quite a few things actually, because I was born in Canada, but my family is my mom's side is from England, and then my dad's side is Danish. So we do two different Christmases generally, for kind of the two sides of my family. So the Danish one is celebrated on Christmas Eve, and we do kind of we do a few things. It's kind of a mix of both modern and more classic sort of Danish stuff, but also just kind of some of our own things. We open the presents at the end of the night, so at like midnight or whatever. We do all these like family gathering stuff. We have dinner, we cook meals together, we do little like party things like where you can win like gift baskets and all that. It's really, really quite fun.
Uh,
And yeah, I've got a pretty big family. So we just have like 30 people over, and we just have this huge thing. And that's with my Danish side of the family on Christmas Eve. And then yeah, we have like Danish meals and stuff, and it's all quite fun. But my mom's side is English, so we celebrate a pretty traditional Christmas for the most part. It's
all
pretty
right.
chill. Nothing too crazy. We have our own like little things that we do for Christmas, like meals that we make every Christmas, movies that we watch every Christmas, that sort of thing. But nothing too crazy. You know, it's quaint.
Yeah.
I don't do anything big or crazy. Sometimes I'll have like my partner over or something. We'll do something. But this year is totally thrown out of the window. My entire city slash town is locked down, and
Yeah.
they've only been extending the rules and changing the rules even more aggressively. So basically, the rules right now are I can have like 2 family members over, 1 or 2, and that's it. Like that's it. There's nobody else. Anything else, you'll get a $2,500 fine. Um, and they're pretty on top of that from what I've seen. So I'm not breaking any rules, being a law-abiding citizen this holiday season. But the one thing, where I live, I don't know if this goes for anywhere else in Canada where I am, but as far as I know, it does. Most stores are allowed like really large ones. It depends on size, but I'm talking like ones that are like the size of Walmart are allowed to have 200 people in the store. So at a time, 200 people at a time, but people aren't allowed to see, a third family member during Christmas. The rules are a little weird. You'll get fined $2,500 if you have like your uncle at your house, but it's totally fine if you're a cashier interacting with thousands of people a day. It's it's a little wonky, but I'm just glad that they've been updating the rules and stuff, so I'm glad they're taking it seriously. Because I want this to be over fast and efficiently.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I guess, it's not a tradition anymore, but if you just want to know a little bit of the Bagster lore, if you will, there was this Christmas thing that we used to do. It was called a Christingle. Very strange name. I don't know why. But basically, you go to church on Christmas Eve, and you sing a bunch of Christmas prayers and everything like that. And they used to give you this orange, right? That had a candle stuck in it and a bunch of like a bunch of like little bits of candy on it, on like little sticks. And yeah, it was just a nice little thing. But we haven't done that for a very long time because we've moved away from the church. Since then, and I also don't have like any religious bone in my body, but it's just a nice little family event. Do you get what I mean?
yeah.
Funny. Unless you've, I don't know if this would be funny, but I remember like I went one time to this Chris Tingle thing, but like hours before. I bought GTA HD San Andreas, and I was just blasting away people. And then next thing you know, I'm at a church. I'm just like, I really want to get home and play San Andreas.
No, what you should have done, you should have recreated the opening of Grezzo 2.
What?
Grezzo 2. You ever played Grezzo 2?
No, I've never played it.
All right, let me describe. Let me describe the first 5 minutes of Grezzo 2. Okay, you walk into a church with machine guns and shotguns, murder everyone in the church.
Oh God!
Priests then try and use crucifixes to kill you, and then you turn into a werewolf and murder Jesus Christ. This is all within the first 5 minutes of the game.
That escalated quickly. Jesus fucking Christ!
Fantastic.
Exactly.
What a game.
I was just saying, hey, look how weird it was. 1 minute I'm playing San Andreas on my Xbox, and then 5 minutes later I'm in a church singing prayers. It's like I'm there repenting my sins or something like that.
Yeah.
But we don't do that anymore, unfortunately. I would love to do it, but obviously in the current predicament that we are, we can't. So yeah.
You're repenting for your sins of playing Max Payne 3.
Oi, we're not getting that in that debate again.
Right, listen, buddy. This will never end.
Really?
Right, fine. I'll put an end to it next year.
Okay, good. Because
that'll be my New Year's resolution.
All right, fair enough. All right, what's the next? Have you got anything else to say?
No, not really. The next question I think is directed at me, but I'll open it up to you guys as well. Razi MP, he's a big fan of the game called MDK. Don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I think I have. Was that? Give me a second. Continue talking. I'll come back when I've done some research.
And he's basically recommending for us to play it because it's the game's 25th anniversary next year.
It's a Shiny Entertainment game.
Ooh. That's interesting.
It's a third-person shooter. I don't know anything about this, but it looks very weird.
Well, I'm interested because it's Shiny Entertainment, and they made The Matrix Path of Neo, so...
It's on Steam, actually. I think it's on Steam.
Yo, it's on
Is it?
Steam? How much is it on Steam?
It says $9.
Ah, shit, I could have paid for it.
It's also on GOG as well.
Oh, I could get that version. Oh yeah, he says get the GOG version, the Steam version's broken. So
Alright.
I'll get the GOG version. Alright, so yes, I will check out MDK.
Good.
Alright. So that's all of Rise's questions. Next we're going to get to Rose's questions. What was the last game you got overjoyed for and felt bitterly disappointed over?
Destiny.
Yeah, the
Destiny.
first one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with that as well. I don't because I would have probably said Cyberpunk, but I'm gonna be honest. Like this is for the last game. This is the last game that disappointed you? Question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Well, it says bitterly disappointed, like you were like overly disappointed.
Okay. Yeah, I probably would have said Cyberpunk, but like I bought Cyberpunk for my partner instead of myself because they wanted it more than I did. So I got it for them as a early Christmas present, and they think it's okay, but they're gonna wait for the bugs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And like 3 of my coworkers got Cyberpunk, so I was like, why don't I just like wait for them to tell me how it is, and if it's awful, I'll wait, and if it's good, I'll buy it. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ended up being a little buggy, which is understandable and fine and all that. So they'll fix it when they fix it, I guess. And yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Destiny was definitely my one, obviously because of certain reasons that I bet you guys can understand why.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 was an improvement, and you know what? The game's actually kind of good. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. They actually improved a lot of the stuff, and they've made it free to play, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Destiny 1 was a major disappointment. So yeah.
Yeah. In terms of me, I can't remember a time I was like bitterly disappointed by a game. Trying to think. Maybe Resident Evil 3 remake, because Resident Evil 3 is one of my favorite games, so I wasn't too happy with the remake. Okay, I wasn't bitterly disappointed by this game, but I was somewhat disappointed. It's a recent game. It actually came out on my birthday, called Visage. And it's basically the closest thing you'll get to a full version of PT. Except it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, because it kind of got boring after the halfway point. And I was a bit disappointed by that, because I was just like... Because like the first half of the game was like really scary and really interesting, and then the other half is just kind of tedious.
Interesting.
So I was just like,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
I was disappointed.
yeah, I mean, I've been watching you play it and everything like that, and
Yeah, the first 2 chapters are amazing. They're really scary, and then afterwards, it's really boring.
yeah. The only thing that I found. See, that's the thing. Horror games don't really. I mean, they do. Like the last true horror game that made me like jump and scared was Resident Evil 2 remake. But every time I kept seeing the stuff that was happening in Visage, slight spoilers. But there's this like monster in there that looks straight up like a Nazgul mixed with Edward Scissorhands, and I just keep going Nazgul.
The last time I was scared by a horror game was PT, and this game, Visage did get me quite a bit, especially with the Lucy chapter. But other than that, I'd say there wasn't really much to the game, and it kind of overstays its welcome. I mean, it's a 10-hour long game. It isn't like a horror game that like you play through in one night. It's like it's a 10-hour long game with multiple chapters, and I don't think it needed to be that long. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed by that. So yeah. Next question, I guess. Do you think certain games remain overrated / underrated years after the original release and initial thought and have... Sorry, wait one sec. I think I've read this question wrong. Do you think certain games remain overrated / underrated yeets after initial thoughts change since then? I think the question is, do you think initial thoughts on games change over time, or do you think they stay the same, I guess?
I mean, what game did I not like? But then I ended up loving it years later. I don't know. I'm literally looking at all my games and everything like to try and find. Um, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah. Henry?
Bioshock.
Oh, Bioshock.
A game. Wait, okay, so it's like that question is like a game you didn't like at first, and then your opinion changed on it. Is that what we're?
Yeah, I think that's what the question is.
Oh, okay, okay. Off the top of my head, a game that I didn't like at launch. I'd say maybe Doom 2016. I didn't like it at first, and then I played it again and I enjoyed it. And another game that I wasn't like I didn't not like it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped. And now I love it to bits. Is Risk of Rain 2. I played it in the beta, and I thought it was like okay, because the content was lacking, and I just got off the first one. Like I love the first one. It's one of my favorite games like ever. So when I heard there's a sequel, I was like insanely hyped for it. I literally could not wait. So when the sequel dropped, it was like an early access title, and I was like, oh boy, here we go, early access on Steam. This is really just asking for trouble. But it actually is a fantastic game now. It's probably in my top 15 games ever. I think it's really fun. It's right up my alley. I love the first one, but I love the sequel a little bit more. There's a ton of content now, and it completely changed my expectations. At first, I thought it was like kind of a bare bones early access title that would have very slow updates, but they're coming out with some pretty rad updates, pretty rad stuff, new bosses, characters. It's fun. So fun with friends too. Getting a group together, group of 4 buddies, and then just blasting some aliens. Risk of Rain 2, pretty rad. I recommend it.
I guess in terms of a game, I didn't like at first, but then loved afterwards. Would probably be MGS5. Because when I first played the game, I thought the story in it was the dumbest thing ever. But then I replayed it recently. I've actually like been playing it a lot recently, and I realized the story is actually really, really good, and it actually is one of the best in the series. So I like that. That game is really good.
Is it kind of like the Halo 4 situation where a lot of the people in the Halo community were like, this is hands down the worst Halo game in the franchise, and it's got the shittiest story, it makes no sense, and then now people are like, there's a few people that are like, oh, in hindsight, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, well, I've always liked the gameplay of MGS5. I just thought when I first played, I was like, oh, this story's the dumbest thing ever. Makes no sense. I'm like, but then I replayed it. I'm just like, this actually makes a lot of sense, and I'd say this is actually one of the best stories in the series.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's that. I guess MGS4 as well, because I replayed that last year, and I used to really not like that game, but now I really love it, and it's one of my favorite games. So there's that too. Yeah. My opinions on MGS change a lot. So, I don't know.
That's valid.
Yeah, so there's that. So I guess we're done with that question?
Yeah,
I suppose.
All right. Next question is, do you find enjoyment towards any forms of media separated from each fan base?
Oh, like enjoy the source material away from the fan base? Yeah, right off the bat, I can think of one. My Hero Academia. I know nothing, the anime I'm referring to. I know nothing about the fan base at all. Literally could not, not trying to be mean, but I couldn't really care less about how toxic it is. The anime is fine. I think it's enjoyable. One of my friends got me to watch it, and I think it's fine. I'd say that's a pretty good example of it.
Yeah.
I've heard it's very toxic.
What about you, Beggy?
My brain went a bit scrambled then. Sorry. Do you find enjoyment towards any forms of media? So basically,
do you enjoy something outside of its fan base?
Halo, I guess.
Fair answer.
Star Wars. Star
Yeah,
Wars.
you know what? Oh, yeah, Halo's pretty big. I hear a lot of people who are big fans of the game, but then when I go, oh yeah, you're a fan of the game. What do you think about this community? What do you think about that? They have no idea what I'm talking about. Halo community is kind of weird in the sense that it can be really disconnected from the game franchise, from like the games. So it's like a separate thing almost sometimes. I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect at times, but I enjoy the community. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I guess with me, it's funny enough. It's from a game I actually haven't played yet. Um, uh, I'm thinking of playing through Persona 5, but I immediately want to stay away from the fan base because
Yeah.
it's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna.
Smash Bros as well. A lot of Nintendo games actually. I don't know if there's a correlation or causation between that, but a lot of Nintendo games I want to play or have played, but I just know nothing about the community because I've heard some really awful things about them. But
Yeah. So no, I want to play through that game. I'm probably gonna love that game, but I'm staying away from that fan base.
don't blame you.
Yeah, most of the fan base is just people making like Rule 34 of the characters anyway, so that's great.
Oh boy.
So I'm just going to stay away from it and hopefully enjoy the game. Anyway, that's all of Rose's questions.
Okay.
All right, Gordon Zora, the man himself.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. Thoughts on video games that came out this year? Well, we talked about Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal's really good.
Yeah.
What other games? I liked Ghost of Tsushima. I thought that was a really great game. I enjoyed the combat in that game a lot. That was a lot of fun. What else? Animal Crossing? Yeah, Animal Crossing was really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the new Animal Crossing, New Horizons. I'd say it's the best in the series. It's really good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What other games? Oh yeah, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Goddamn masterpiece. Love it. Love that game. And yeah, that's about it. I didn't play that many games that released this year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't played Cyberpunk yet. So
Yeah.
We won't be for a very long time.
yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Beg?
I mean, so like, repeat the question again.
What's your favorite game that came out this year, or like, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on some games that came out this year?
Okay, Doom Eternal, absolute masterpiece. Resident Evil 3 remake, fucking garbage.
The contrast, the duality of man. The,
No, it's just with Resident Evil 3, right? I mean, the game was being developed roughly around the same time as the remake of 2 and everything, and with 2, like Resident Evil 2 remake is literally one of my favorite games ever. It's one of my favorite games ever, and I didn't go in when they announced this, the remake of the third one. I wasn't like overhyped or anything like that. I kept my expectations relatively low, and I know about the original game and everything like that. Nemesis is one of my dad's favorite Resident Evil games, so that's the only connection I have with it. And I played it, and I just went, okay, first round it's good, and then when I went with the second round, I just went, actually no, this is terrible. This is actually garbage. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened with that game. I really wanted Nemesis to. I don't want to say like a carbon copy of Mr. X, but at least let him follow you throughout the entire game. Kind of like what he does in the original Resident Evil 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But no, he's only he's relegated to a few scripted, segments really. And he kind of loses his scare factor quite a bit with Mr. X. I mean, even though I've played Resident Evil 2 so many times, he still scares the ever living hell out of me because he's just so intimidating.
mm-hmm.
So, Capcom, you disappointed me this year. Really did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Yeah, no. I was about to say like the game didn't come out this year, but like I've been playing games that I haven't played before, like years ago. So I was going to say, what about Shadow of Mordor? I played that even though it didn't come out, but it's just like, what's your thoughts on that? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. There's not really been that many games all that much. At least big ones. I mean, yeah, you've had your Ghost of Tsushimas, you've had your Dooms and all that, but it's been relatively quiet. And the only
Yeah.
thing that we've had access to us is older games. So, yeah.
Yeah, this year's been kind of the year of me catching up on stuff, like shows, movies, all that, games and all. Yeah, so I haven't really been playing many new games. I've just been kind of catching up on my backlog of other games, which is something like finally, I'm finally getting on it. Because there's people who have been for quite literally years telling me to get on certain games, and I just haven't gotten around to it until literally right now. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess for round two, if you're talking like round two stuff, Shadow of Mordor would be one of them. Played that game relatively when it came out, and I didn't like it because I kind of hold I'm a bit of a canon, nut. I take canon into consideration quite a bit. But thanks to some friends, they told me, let's just put the canon stuff aside and just play the game for what it is. And yeah, for what it is, it was good. Bit stupid of me that I didn't play the side quests all that much, but yeah, I just really wanted just to see how the game was, and yeah, it was good. It's going to be interesting to see how I feel about the second game. So yeah, you're playing it right now, actually, aren't you, Haruka?
No, I haven't started playing.
You haven't started. You are. You're going to play it.
Yeah, I'm playing through the Virgil DLC right now.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah. Just released
Yeah.
today. I was playing a lot of it earlier.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
were playing at like 1:00 this morning.
No, Smile was doing that because I bought it from.
Oh, I thought I was watching it on your stream.
No, he was playing it because I bought it from. Anyway,
Ah,
yeah, I got it myself and playing it. So yeah, I don't know already else what else to say about the question.
yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, actually, Gordon Zora, where is that animation? Where's that part 2 animation at?
Yeah,
Right,
where is it?
he made a post about it the other day. It's like in a tweet he said it's 99% done. You're referring to the Halo one, yeah?
Yeah. It's
Okay,
been
yeah,
a year.
no.
It's been a year
Yeah.
since the
Yeah.
first part.
Oh no!
Mhm.
Don't tell me this is the one where I'm in it. Ah, god damn it! That's gonna make it worse.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, no, it's I recorded the lines almost a year ago now, so if he wanted me to record the lines, I'd happily redo it for free because
So would I, because my
I've gotten a
delivery
little better.
on those lines is gonna be so terrible. Oh god.
It's gonna be great. I'm sure it's gonna be great. But yeah, no, that's coming out soon. So be sure to check out Gordon Zora. I believe his YouTube is in his Twitter bio, so
I'll put
have a
a
peek at him.
I'll put a link to the his YouTube in the description of the video as well.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so next one is from the Film Gamer, and he asks, just more of a general question, thoughts on Respawn Entertainment's games?
Jedi Fallen Order was a pretty good one.
I really
Although
enjoyed that.
story-wise, nah, I prefer something more on the lines of Force Unleashed. I found Starkiller to be a much more compelling character. And I wouldn't say, I connected him on an emotional level. It was just interesting to see his progression, and I couldn't really see any, good, interesting parts for Cal, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, for Starkiller, I kind of like related to him on a personal level in the sense where Darth Vader was like, your feelings for her are not real, and he's like, they are real to me, because I got a waifu.
Is that the only reason?
That's the no other reason. There's no other reason. I'm just like, oh, he's literally like me.
Everyone keeps doing that with Luna and Charlie, and it's just like,
pain.
I get it.
You did it with me, so shush. You don't get to
Yeah,
complain.
Feelings for her are not real.
It was
Oh my
funny.
gosh.
So there you go.
You don't get to complain, Baggy.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I really want to play Titanfall 2 because I've actually been listening to the soundtrack of that game.
Titanfall 2 is amazing. Titanfall 2
I
is
really
amazing.
enjoyed Titanfall 2. I feel like it had its flaws, but its flaws were greatly outshined by its greatness, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Respawn Entertainment they're a good up and coming developer, and I'm looking forward to what they do next. Because they've made 4 successful games so far.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to what they're doing. That's going to be interesting.
Them.
I trust them too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're a pretty good developer. Obviously, they're still in their infancy. They've only done a couple things as of right now, but what they've done so far is pretty good. And I'm sure in the near future we'll be seeing more from them, and it'll be just as good, if not better. So I'm looking forward to what they do next. But yeah, I think they're
good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. All right. Next question comes from this guy. I don't think I've ever heard of this guy before. His name's the Noble Warpmaster.
I wouldn't know. This is news to me.
Yeah, some rando on Twitter. Why do you ask this question? Do you believe that I single-handedly took on a horde of horny cat girls?
Yes. Do you believe in this legend?
I'm gonna go with no. I'm sorry.
Well, considering my extreme hatred for cat girls and how cringy they are, I slaughtered an entire horde of them.
That's
heads on spikes as well, if you want to go into more graphic details. I also listened to BFG Division, to really amp up the adrenaline. So that was fun. That was a fun day out.
interesting.
I'm
Very interesting.
to okay, so I've said this before to Baggy, but I'll say it because this is the first time it's been said publicly. Baggy's gonna
posted cringe.
Baggy's gonna die someday, and he will die by my hands.
Oh my.
Baggy.
Yeah.
Some days you just fucking drive me up the wall.
I mean, you've said worse things before, but I'm
What?
not
I have not said worse things.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Like what?
All right. When I streamed Devil May Cry 3, right, I was asking a bunch of questions, and you said to me, Baggy, you also.
What? This is not safe for kids. This is not safe for kids.
You said that. You said that.
I'm
Do
gonna
not deny it.
I'm gonna censor that when this goes on live on podcast.
I'm going out on the record here. This is not safe for kids.
Yeah,
No, actually censor that. Like, put the boop. That would be funny.
No, then I'll post the actual thing on Twitter so people know what I said.
Oh my god, no!
No,
Please, I got a wife and kids.
God damn it.
Don't tell my wife.
Yeah, this is a show for kids.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, Baggy. Demonstrate how this is a show for kids, please.
Pardon?
Demonstrate how this is a show for kids. Do something like kid friendly.
I don't know. A pirate doesn't take another person's property. This is kids. This is kids.
Oh god damn it. Yeah, I've said a lot of worse stuff.
Oh, what was that other thing? Like when you played Visage. When you played Visage and you took the piss out of my disability.
Okay, so in Visage.
Oh my.
Okay, Henry, for context, I posted this on Twitter. Actually,
boy.
there's a video of it. I was playing Visage, and there's one guy who he chases after you and he's in crutches, and
You said baggy syndrome.
yeah, I was with like Smalder or whatever, and he asked, why is he in crutches? And I said, oh no, he must suffer from a bit of baggy syndrome.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's so mean.
I know.
I literally like you can also hear my my retarded laugh as well at the end of the clip. But
Boy.
if you hear, like, it is a bit faint because you had the game volume really loud. But when he said that, you could hear me go, "Oi!"
Oh, jeez.
Fuck's sake. Yeah, I've said some dumb stuff in my time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is the last question. Well, this is actually the last two questions. Then we'll get on to discussing Cyberpunk and also the future of this podcast because I want to discuss that afterwards. This is the last question. Okay, so Irish Space Cowboy has asked two questions. Now the second question's weird, but you have to answer it. If you do not answer it, then you must delete yourself from existence.
Okay.
It just disappears.
Yeah. Okay. So first question. What he likes to do, his style is he likes to ask a serious question and a really stupid question. So his serious question is: have you developed any new coping mechanisms, hobbies, or habits to cope with lockdown in this overall boring year? My answer is no. I just do the same thing I do always. Baggy?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, oh, I really want to say this, but I don't want people to think I'm a fucking idiot.
You know, we're okay. With you and me, everyone thinks we're already lunatics, so I don't think it'd change much.
I can't. This is too embarrassing.
Say
this
it.
Is
Oh,
too...
Right, Baggy.
Yeah,
As long as it's safe for kids.
it is safe.
You're among friends.
All right, what are you going to say, Haruka?
All right. Okay. So, first of all, I mean, I don't know what it is. Just DM it to me what it is.
It's mighty gay. It's mighty gay.
Mighty gay.
Yeah.
Mighty
I'll DM it to you.
All right. Oh no, but now this is just going to put the audience in suspense, so now they're just going to be wondering what it is.
Fuck it, I'll say it. When I have my little anxiety attacks, I think of my waifu.
This is fantastic. Riveting. I'll be sure
Baggy,
to write
that's
this
not-
down at the next board meeting.
Baggy, that's not that embarrassing, to be honest, because the next question is going to make me look more like a weirdo than that ever did. That's not.
Oh
that's...
boy. If it's the question that I think it is, I just
You have to answer it.
No. Okay, so
You have to.
we're
okay, but first,
okay.
First of all,
we're all adults here. Yes, we are.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
all
But
18
first-
and up. Okay, fantastic.
okay, but the first question though, have you developed any new coping mechanisms throughout this year?
I've been trying to make more time to play games with my homies because I haven't been able to see them in real life. Both online and offline. But yeah,
That's fair.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Trying to catch up on games I haven't been able to catch up on, movies and TV shows. Spending more time with my my family because I can't see people in person, so I'm only can see my family because Rona.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, actually, I forgot. Next year we're meeting up. I've completely forgot
Yes.
about that. That's going to be awesome.
I'm really hoping.
Oh gosh, like you two or like what?
I thought,
What's the plan?
Because I thought all three of us. Yeah, because I thought you had the.
Okay, we'll see on that because that depends on Rona, right?
Yeah.
If there's still a trace, I'm not gonna risk it for the Trisket.
Fair
But
enough.
the idea is worst case scenario 2021. But yeah, if I'm in the UK or or in England or wherever,
Well,
I will. I'll be sure to mention it and make a big deal out of it and meet as many people as I can. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Anytime that I travel, because I know people from all across the world now. That's something really beautiful about the people that I've met on Twitter and the friends that I've made. I've met people from quite literally all across the world. I'm talking like anywhere. Like you can name a place, I know somebody from there now, and it's beautiful. And there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I'd be cool with meeting them up. Granted that it's in a safe public area, so I don't get my kidneys harvested by one of my Twitter followers. I'm kidding. No, there's some really wonderful people that I've met, and yeah, I'd definitely love to meet them. There's actually a few conventions where I've met people, both by accident and both intentionally, where because I go to cosplay conventions and stuff like that, and people are just so happen to be there, and then I get to meet some people. It's really cool. I've met a good handful of people who I knew through Twitter and now know in real life. So it's cool. Everybody says comments on how tall I am pretty much like right away. they're like I did not actually think you were fucking 6'9", and I'm like, well, I'm 6'9". I don't know what to tell you.
No, when we meet up, you're gonna tower over me. You're gonna be like the Eiffel Tower compared to me.
That's rough, buddy. I didn't know you lived in France.
Oh God, gosh. No.
French Henry, what baguettes will he make?
Yeah. Anyway, this question now.
We're all over the age of 18. Yes, I just want to double check that. Okay,
yes,
fantastic.
it was my birthday like 2 months ago. So yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, and Baggy, you have to answer this.
Sure.
To bring back the tradition of the stupid/inappropriate question, what is the weirdest thing you've ever pulled the pipe to during lockdown or ever?
Well, you see, I do a lot of plumbing. Recently I fixed my taps the other day. So I had to do a lot of pipe plumbing that day. I had to replace the entire plumbing of my sink in my bathroom. It was a nightmare in it. Yeah, but you know what? It was a lot of fun. That's what I do. That's the pipe pulling that I do. Don't know about you guys.
Oh, I've got a story.
I'm shaking in my boots.
This was about a year ago now. So I went to a mate's birthday party and stuff like that, and went out for a restaurant and all that, and got to his house, and they laid out a few drinks. And well, me was a very stupid person, decided to completely consume myself in alcohol, and I got a bit too drunk, and I ended up throwing up in his bed, throwing up in the hallway, and my dad had to drag me out the house like an army soldier on the battlefield. And what was worse is that they texted me the next day, asking, "Who's Luna?" And, well, if you know my history, you'll know who Luna is. And then it turns out I scared the shit out of my sister because she kept saying, "Why did you keep saying, good soldiers follow orders, good soldiers follow orders?"
Oh, jeez.
If you know the Clone Wars, then you'll understand what that means.
Oh, boy. Pain. And this is why I drink with like only one or two people that I know very closely. Boy.
Yeah. I can still remember everything. That's the crazy part. That's everything. That's the one thing people are still astonished by. I was hammered.
I feel like being blackout drunk isn't as real as movies lead on to be, because I've only one time experienced memory loss while I was drinking, and that was actually, I'm saying this, I don't share private details often, but like life stuff, but I'll publicly share this because this was on stream. I was playing Monster Prom, and I got really drunk on stream, probably the second drunkest I've ever been in my entire life, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm kind of tipsy, kind of tired, and I remember like falling into my bed, not even like tucking myself in, just kind of like laying down in bed and being like, yes, this is cozy. And then I woke up. Like, I just woke up and my phone was buzzing, it was going off, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I go and check it, and it's like $85 has been deducted from your PayPal account, and I'm like, what? Huh? Okay, what did I buy within like the span of a few minutes? And it was like one of those things where it doesn't tell you like what you bought. It just says, oh, you bought several things from Amazon, several things from eBay, and I'm like, what? So several things from Etsy, and I'm like, what the fuck did I buy? What did I buy? I'm so scared. And I checked my emails, and a couple of things I could check, but most of them I was logged into a guest account, so I couldn't actually like check the shipping info and everything on like what I bought. And some of the other things I just chose not to enter in my email. or entered in like my junk mail email. So like I couldn't check it. I didn't know what it was. So I waited like 2 weeks, and it was like 4 keychains of my waifu, and like a book, like just a random fucking book, like I think it was like Starship Troopers or something, and like just a bunch of stickers, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. All right. So I have one of the keychains hanging on my wall, and then I have one of the other keychains, like I bring it to work, and another keychain is on like my set of car keys. So it's just, I got a collection of keys now, and nobody can stop me. I've become all powerful.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Very cringe, I assure you.
Well, what do I answer this with?
You got a lot to answer for, boy.
Oh yeah. Oh.
What?
You know, it's funny because if most people did, you know, actually no, I'm not going to continue with that. What do I tell? What do I tell? I don't know, because there's a bunch of weird stuff I could talk about, but then I'd lose every subscriber on my on my YouTube. So I don't know. Baggy, help me out.
Yeah. I see. Look, these are good, but I think they're a bit too spicy.
Right. Okay.
Oh, he's gone to go. He's been contacted. Just give me a second. But yeah, Henry, I was not kidding when I said about the whole Luna and me being drunk thing. Everyone on Xbox kept asking me the next day when I got home, like, who the fuck's Luna? And I never told them.
Right. Oh jeez.
I have a funny story. My life. Oh god.
Oh gosh.
So I was
riveting.
My life. So I was in a relationship with a woman for a long time.
Okay.
But then the relationship got intimate, and when it did, I found out it was a guy. Fuck my life. I'm done.
My.
Yeah, he's told this story several times, and it may sound fucked up, but I keep laughing every time.
Oh boy.
I have weirder stories to tell, but I'm not going to tell. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
As much as I would love to comment on that, I think I'm gonna sit that one out
Fair enough. I don't
for
blame
obvious reasons. But
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's I'm sorry to hear that, but
no, it was funny. I laughed my ass off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
we both
as
found
long
it
as
funny.
it was. Oh, okay, that's good. That's
It
good.
wasn't a catfishing situation either.
Yeah, okay. I was under the assumption that it was, so I was.
No.
Okay.
They knew each other personally.
Yeah, we knew each other for a while. It was only when it got intimate, I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Didn't see
yeah,
that.
because I thought it was like a catfishing situation, and
No,
I was
they
like, oh, geez.
They just never told me.
People can be whatever they want, and I'll be in full support. But just don't catfish people. Don't don't lie.
Yeah, anyway,
that's all.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. It's funny because I remember posting that like on Twitter a while back without context, and like people were like, "What?"
I think I remember seeing that tweet actually, and I can't remember like. Yeah, I was just like, oh. Yeah,
it's just me saying I sucked the dick. And no context, it just sounds really weird. But yeah, there you go. There's the context.
Could you imagine me being in that situation?
Oh god. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. There's
I would. My reaction would probably be very, very different.
Yeah, that's my weird story for the night.
Interesting.
All right, moving on. That's all the questions we got on Twitter. So now, moving on. Let's talk Cyberpunk 2020.
Actually, can I object?
Sure.
Can I object? Let's talk about the other one first, because I feel that's the most important.
What one?
The future. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that at the end.
All right.
It's more fitting. So let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077, Keanu Reeves, and the impressive
launch.
Yeah, goddamn it. The impressive the launch of this game. So,
thank you.
So first of all, I think Baggy has a lot to say. So Do you want to start there?
Well, I have an RTX card, not business, blah blah blah, mumbo jumbo. The game runs like smoldering shit.
Goodness.
So, I put everything on low, to at least get 60. Couldn't even get 60. What is worse is that there's been more stuff coming out saying that they didn't even pay attention to last gen versions of the game, and that makes me question: did you pay attention at all on all platform? Because if fucking RTX 3080s can't even run this thing, then you didn't pay attention at all. And it's been an 8 years development, and I do not know what the hell's been going on. And quite frankly, I'm actually disgusted. I'm genuinely disgusted by everything that's gone on. And I spoke to you about this in one of our private calls on how I said that look, the gaming industry has changed ever since. I brought up LucasArts, didn't I?
Yeah.
Remember? And I just said, as soon as they got shut down, something told me that the gaming industry was going into a dystopian future. Because LucasArts made fantastic games in a very short amount of time. But that was because they were very passionate, and they made sure that every single one of their games was great. And it just feels like now we pay money for games that don't even work. Thankfully, we have games like Doom Eternal and stuff like that, because that's actually made by people who give a shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like the whole situation surrounding Cyberpunk is a shame, because performance and bug issues aside, I've heard nothing but praise for the game. It's a magnificent game. And I really, really want to play it, and I want to burn an entire city down with Keanu Reeves at my side. I really want to do that, but I can't because the game runs like poo-poo.
Yeah.
I feel like they issued an announcement where they're trying to fix the game best as possible, and while they're doing like updates to fix the game, they said that they're going to do like really major bug fixes in, I believe it was January and February. I feel like February is a quite long to wait for something like that, but I mean, as I'm just glad they're doing it. That's kind of my stance on that, but it's a shitty situation, to be sure, and I feel like it's a mix of things. I think it's a little bit of everybody's fault. Like, there were some really high expectations that they set, and fans sort of understandably were really hyped up for it, and they had these huge expectations, and it's just a whole thing.
Yeah. Do you know, there was something at the back of my head. I mean, again, the core game, the story, gameplay, and all that, it's very good. There was something at the back of my head that this is going to be another Destiny, in the fact that it is one of these games that is hyped up to fucking oblivion, and then when it comes out, it's not that great. Thankfully, with Cyberpunk, it's only technical issues, but still, the launch was not good, and the same thing goes for Destiny. It sucks. I mean, and I find it astonishing that people crown CDPR as like the king of gaming and everything like that, when they've only made one game that is universally praised by everyone. And it sucks to see their reputation, go, but I don't want to say they deserve it, but they kind of deserve it, because they hid the Xbox One and PS4 versions from reviewers. You were not allowed to show your own gameplay footage of when you're doing reviews, and I'm sorry, but they kind of deserve what's coming to them. I have to be realistic. If you say to your customers that you couldn't be arsed and didn't pay attention to fix to these platforms, then that basically says to me, then why bother at all?
Yeah,
and you deserve everything coming
I feel like
towards you in terms of the failure.
The company deserves it, not the actual.
No. That's one
individual
thing.
developers.
The developers. Please, for the love of God, do not attack them. Please do not.
Yeah.
I mean, don't attack anyone. Just say to the right people, hey, you really messed this game up. You really did. Because unfortunately, the developers of CDPR, they've been under a lot of scrutiny for months and months and months by the media and just random people. And I'm mainly just talking about the company, not the developers. Leave the developers alone. They were only told what they were told to do.
Yeah.
It's the management that was the problem.
I feel consistently bad for game developers, especially nowadays, because like 15 years ago, when there was an issue like this, it was not as widespread. People just wouldn't be as vocal, and when they were, it was basically just, oh, I'm not buying the game, it sucks, and people wouldn't send you death threats on Twitter every morning, right? Like,
Yeah.
it shocks me shocks me that A, it's a problem to begin with, B, it's still a problem, like people sending death threats and stuff to developers, and C, that people don't understand that it's not the developer themselves. Like, when a game gets rushed, it's not the developers going, hey, I'm gonna rush this game out because I want money. No, they're getting paid a fixed sum every year, right? They're getting paid hourly wages and stuff like that. Yeah, sometimes they may get a Christmas bonus if the game goes well, sort of thing, but like, it's the company that's telling them with the monthly quotas, with everything, rushing them, right? It's just a whole thing.
It's not right, and it's just it sucks because games even like 7 years ago didn't have this problem. I mean, okay, you had your Battlefield 4, but for a while we didn't have these types of issues, and I guess with the age that we're moving into the digital age nowadays, where everyone has access to social media, and whilst there are some good that can come out of it, there can be a lot of bad that can come out of it. And I genuinely hope that any developer that's making a game isn't afraid of what social media says. I genuinely hope that isn't the case, because that's kind of what I was thinking was the case with 343. That we didn't get anything for a long time because they were afraid of what they were going to say was going to get backlash. But that didn't turn out to be the case, thankfully. But
yeah, a lot of people.
It's sad.
Yeah. A lot of people were getting upset at 343 for not sharing information, but I was like, yeah, it's a drought and everything, yeah, whatever. But like, they're literally not sharing information because they shared information and it wasn't what people were expecting. They're making sure that they're not saying anything until the news is worthy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Until it's worthy of reporting. They're not going to report something unfinished, because if they keep reporting unfinished things, people are just going to get upset. And it must be hard. I feel bad for them. Like, I mean, like a lot of the Halo developers are like, oh, it's such an honor to work here and everything, but I feel so bad for them with how terrible the fan base can be. It's just so awful. People are pretty terrible. I want people to be more understanding.
I've actually I've got, I mean, Haruki, you know about this, and a few people do, but I've actually got a video I'm working on. I might have to have changed a few things now that we've had the big news come out and stuff like that. But yeah, I've got a lot to say on the community and stuff like that. But tangent aside, Cyberpunk.
I think it's okay. Okay, I think it's really unacceptable the game released in the state it did, because first of all, the only console the game works decently well on is the Xbox Series X. If you buy it on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 5, the game either flat out doesn't work or is buggy as hell. Second off,
PlayStation 5 as well?
Yeah, even on PlayStation 5 the game runs terrible. Xbox Series X is the only console that runs it decently, which is first of all stupid, because if I buy a game, say like, okay, I go to a store, I buy a game, it says PS5 at the top of it, I expect to be able to play the game properly on PS5. So it's really stupid. It's like, if I buy the game on PS5, I expect to be able to play the game on PS5, but I can't. So it's really stupid, and like pretty much all the consoles, like the Xbox Series X is the only console that runs the game decently. Until on PC, the game is only optimized for certain graphic cards. So unless you have that specific type of graphic card, game runs like terrible. You'll get like 20 frames per second unless you have the correct graphics card. It's genuinely disgusting. The game got released in this state, and I think it's because they obviously because they rushed the game out. Because I heard like they got lost a couple billions because they kept delaying the game and all that. But then the thing is like, why do you keep delaying the game? Why not wait until you know the game's like done, like then set a release date? It's like, this is the thing. I understand delays can happen sometimes, but generally, like, a lot of, like, delays or, like, games being announced too early, a lot of it happened from just people not managing their projects correctly. Like, it's an issue I have with a lot of Japanese game developers, where, like, they announce their games years before they release, and I'm just like, well, why? Like, why announce something and then only have it released a couple years later? Why not announce it like when you know it's like pretty much close to being? This is what I appreciate about Resident Evil 2 and DMC5. They were announced less than a year off from release, and so I appreciate that. And so, but like in general, it's just like for example, like the Call of Duty games, for example. Now, Infinity Ward was asked how do they how do they manage to get like game like obviously it's different developers working on the Call of Duty series. It's different developers like the entire series, but like they were asked like how do you manage to get games out every year? Isn't there like crunch involved? How do you manage it? And they just said no, we don't need to do any of that because we just manage our projects correctly. So if Call of Duty, a series that has yearly entries, is able to get projects out without having to delay the game or having to crunch the developers, then there's no excuse that a game that's been in development for over 8 years now should do it. And that's what I'm really disappointed in, is the management with Cyberpunk 2077. Because the thing is, the game could be a genuine masterpiece. I'm not going to know because I'm not going to buy a buggy game. I wouldn't know. I hope it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing it in like 2 months because in February they said like, oh, we're going to be releasing some patches and then the game should be playable by then. So I guess I'm waiting until February to play the game. But I think it's really stupid the game released in the state. If I buy a game, it should be expected that I can play the game just fine.
Yeah. I feel like missing some content at launch is understandable, especially in this specific year. A little bit of content, but having it genuinely on day one launch, actually physically unable to launch even to the title screen, that's unacceptable because that. You're buying a product to have the product, right?
Yeah.
And you're not getting the product. So, no, it shouldn't be allowed. If you buy, I don't know, say a computer or even like a coffee maker, it should work when you buy it. You shouldn't buy the coffee maker and then, they say, "Oh, wait, hold on. Where's the pot for the coffee? I can't make coffee." And they go, "Oh, you'll get it in a month." You can't do that. It shouldn't. Like, it's a little bit of a different concept because it's a video game, and a video game isn't necessarily like a fixed product. Like, it isn't like just an object. It's an ever changing, digital thing. But like, it's a similar concept in the sense that something should be complete.
Yeah, it should.
To an extent, you should be able to actually have the product that you expect it to have, in the sense that it is a video game that you can play.
Yes.
But yeah.
So yeah, that's my thoughts now. In terms of the game itself, I haven't played it, so I don't know in terms of the game's quality. That's the annoying thing, is that this game could be a genuine masterpiece, could be one of the greatest games ever made, but I'm not going to buy a game in this state where either I'm not going to have it's either going to be one of two scenarios. Either I can't play it to begin with, or second off, I play it and it's buggy as hell and it's going to really ruin the experience. I'm not going to buy a game like that. So
That's valid.
Underneath all these like bugs and glitches, the game might be an actual like amazing game. So like, I'm not necessarily speaking about the quality of the game itself. I'm also talking about the management of how CD Projekt Red have handled this game's launch and its delays and its development. I think it's really terrible, and I hope they learn their lessons from this and don't make this mistake again. Because I've lost a lot of respect for them over this whole situation. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that turns out.
I've heard it isn't as bad as some people are saying, but
it's really bad. Some people can't launch the games. There's other people who play at like 10 FPS despite having a mega machine. Like I said, console players, for them it doesn't work most of the time.
Jeez Louise.
It's like it's a barely playable game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've played very buggy and kind of shoddy performance S games, but not to this scale. The only sort of game I can kind of say this is sort of similar to is Subnautica. On every platform that game is on, you get pop-in, strange graphic, strange glitches, FPS drops, even if you're on a mega machine of a PC. And it's not a very graphically intense game. That's the thing. And okay, it has multiple layers, on the map and stuff like that. Kind of like Minecraft and everything like that. But it's not a very intense game. If you look on the specs, it's not very intense. Yet it kind of is a bit shoddy. But Cyberpunk is a completely different story. I've never seen a game this bad.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I don't know. When the game gets patched in 2 months, hopefully then we can actually experience the game as it was supposed to be at release. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to that when that happens, because then I can finally play the game. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sad time because, also, I also mentioned this in one of our private calls. This was one of those games with the year that we've been, with the hell that we've all been through. Cyberpunk was kind of one of those games that everyone was looking up to, to say, please end this year on a good note. We just want something very, very good to end this shit year on, and that's not the case. That's not the case.
yeah.
And it's sad. If it's really sad, and it's a perfect example of why I feel this gaming industry just isn't the same as it used to be. And I find it also sad that we have indie games, little tiny indie games that are launched perfectly fine, but are overshadowed by Call of Duties, your Forzas, your Cyberpunks, all these other big games, and these big games launch terribly. Yet you have all these other little indie games that are perfectly fine. They're just made by a small team of people.
Mm-hmm.
I
feel like the indie games have been getting a little bit more of a spotlight lately, though. This is kind of like, sure, they get overshadowed, but I feel like a lot more indie games have been getting kind of like their chance now, because they're, especially, I'm willing to wager 2021 is going to be a good year for indie games, because people are going to be super skeptical of these big AAA titles now, because they haven't been particularly great. So I think people are going to start moving to indie games more and more. So hopefully that kind of leaves an opening for these indie devs to make a game and actually get some recognition for it. Hopefully. Yeah, that's the idea.
It's just, it's not even the launch of games that's the problem. It's also like companies' support of like the legacy of their older titles. I think one of the perfect examples of this, even though the games in it are fantastic, the way they were handled was terrible. The Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection. Literally no difference whatsoever. They're basically just ports. There's no HD or anything like that. Galaxy is the only game that is like 60 FPS. And the fucked up thing is that you only have until March 31st until this collection is completely gone. That includes digital, which makes absolutely no sense. Unless Nintendo are planning to release these games separately, that is fine. But at least tell us.
They're not going to tell you because they want to create a sense of like, once this thing is gone, it's gone forever, and so they want to encourage you to buy it as soon as possible. That's the idea.
It's so anti-consumer. I mean, it sucks because it works. Like, people are gonna buy it because of that reason.
I did.
Yeah, exactly. It creates a sense of urgency for something that, realistically isn't something urgent. But people are gonna buy it anyway, and I don't blame you guys. But it's this kind of false sense of urgency now, and people feel obligated to purchase.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the good thing is like we have like developers like 343, whilst their their own games are very divisive. They've kept the legacy of the older games very relevant. They've been updating the new games completely, and it's wonderful to see these games get the love and care they rightfully deserve.
Yeah.
Even if the newer games, let's say quote unquote, might suck, at least you have the older games to go back on and play.
Exactly, yeah. They've been treating the old games insanely well.
Exactly.
Because they could have easily just made MCC and then dumped it off in its broken buggy mess and kept going. But they came back, they fixed it. Not only did they fix it, but they added more content to it too, like cut content and stuff and skins to games that are some of them are a decade old or 2 decades old. It's insane. So
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like with me, I'm all for releasing old games and stuff like that. I mean, the one thing that I would love to see, even though it never will happen, I also did a tweet about this, is that I would love to see Warner Brother Games re-release the old Lord of the Rings games. So like the Two Towers, Return of the King, and the Third Age.
Oh wait, I think I played some of those actually.
Yeah.
Like, what console again?
They were on Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Windows.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I played those. Those weren't they like wasn't like the difficulty spike in those games like insanely hard at sometimes?
If you're talking about the Third Age, which was a turn-based RPG, then yeah, maybe.
I think so. Then again, I played it when I was a kid, and my memory's a little fuzzy, but also I just was not as good as a gamer as I am now. Epic gamer, but
Epic.
Yeah. The sad thing is that if the only way you can play these games nowadays is either you buy a PlayStation 2 or an Xbox or you emulate them, but the problem is well, old consoles are kind of becoming a little bit more expensive, and plus these games are becoming a lot more expensive if you want to get the original versions. And some people just aren't willing to emulate, and that's why I'm just like, look, the Lord of the Rings fan base is still massive, and there are still many people out there who love these games very much. The least you could do is just at least port them. You don't have to do a remake or a HD thing. Just port them to where they're playable on consoles for everyone to play. That is just literally it. I know obviously there are probably some internal issues, but Warner Brothers owns the rights to these games now. EA doesn't. They managed to acquire the rights and stuff. But I don't know. That's the thing. I just wish some publishers gave a crap about old games, because it's not like the Two Towers or Return of the King were little small games. No, they sold like hotcakes when they came out. So, give it a shot, I guess. See what happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Haruka, I mean, you're going to give them a try after you finish the Shadow games.
Yeah.
Which I'm really looking forward to, because it's going to be cool going down memory lane with a buddy who's never played them before. So
yeah, that should be interesting.
But it's the only way to play these games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that covers that.
Yeah.
So this is the last thing we'll be talking about, and this will probably be pretty short, and then we'll end this whole thing. It's the future of this whole podcasting, because obviously we haven't done one in a long time. So I think that's important to discuss. So the way this is going to work from now on, the reason why we haven't done one in such a long time is because it's been really difficult to find a time where all three of us can do it.
Yeah.
Henry's busy, Baggy's busy, I'm busy, so... Well, actually,
and not to mention time zones are kind of wild. Like when we started this, it was 10 o'clock a.m. where I am, and it was 6 p.m. where you guys are, correct? So it's basically two sides of the same day. Time zones are wild. So
yeah,
and I have a work schedule where I'll work as early as 5 in the morning and then as late as like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard. I try to make time for everybody, but like life do be kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we've decided to do is, in terms of this podcast, from here on outwards, we'll still have it to some degree, but at the same time, it'll be less frequent. It won't be like a thing we do all the time. Say, like, for example, when we all get around to like finishing Cyberpunk, or when Halo Infinite comes out, or whatever, we might like have like a thing like this where we have a discussion about that game. All three of us just kind of sit down and just talk about it. So, it'll still continue in some regard, but in terms of like this kind of like schedule thing, or like, it's not gonna work that way from here on out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like 2 years ago, like pretty much all three of us, we could do it like monthly, like it was no issue. But like nowadays, it's like it's much harder to like get it all three of us together to talk about it. I mean, me and Henry have been talking for a while, like in Twitter DMs, trying to get like trying to find out like what's a good time to do this. We've been trying to do that for
exactly.
a while.
And I feel bad, but I mean, I guess it's part of life. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to make an effort to make it not another 7 months before we have the next episode.
Right. Well, it depends.
But,
It depends.
Yeah, it depends. So basically, that's kind of like how it's going to work. It's not going to be like a thing, like a schedule, like it'll be like in a case like every so often there might be like a certain topic or a certain like thing, like a new game comes out, and we want to discuss the game and have like a discussion about it between the three of us, and like then we do that type of thing, but it won't be like this from now on. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only things that we could talk about, obviously, next year. I mean, anything can happen next year, but the big things that are coming out next year, at least for me anyway, are Halo Infinite and Matrix 4.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we would want to do something like that, but bearing in mind those things aren't coming out until basically the end of next year.
Yeah, we can still do that, and say like when Cyberpunk gets fixed, like
gets actually fixed.
Yeah, and we all have a chance to play for it. Then we could sort of do a discussion on that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll just have to see how things go, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, don't expect the podcast to be like this from here on out.
Yeah. Something did actually. I can't remember specifically what I said, but it just came out of the top of my head. I made a thing about a few months ago saying, did I contact any of you saying that? Oh, I didn't want to do the podcast anymore. Did I just say that? Or
I think that was it.
I think there was a mention of maybe thinking about it, but nothing too serious.
Thinking about it. Yeah. And that's kind of what led to us kind of like, to this. Yeah. Because, we're not the same people we were 2 years ago. We've well, when I say that, I mean a lot has happened in 2 years in terms of our lives.
So much Twitter drama has occurred. We've been fighting each other. No, I'm kidding.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah, it's it's just our lives have kind of evolved in the 2 years. I mean, I'm still the same miserable bastard, but
so what's your point?
I'm just saying that.
I know.
I get what I mean is that Henry's doing his own thing, you're doing your own thing, and I'm kind of doing my own thing. We're busy. We're a lot more busier now. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or am I going fucking crazy?
You're fine.
Good. All right. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm fine if you guys ever did an episode without me. I don't think I'm like
we couldn't do that because we've actually had people say that, and we're just like, nah. Henry's like all three of us.
But Henry, you're the entire reason this thing even started to begin with. So.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I'm flattered, but I wouldn't lose my mind if you did an episode without me.
Yeah, I know. I've done that a few times. Like, it's been a few episodes where it hasn't been Baggy, it hasn't been Henry. But like, it's like, I don't know.
It's the trio, I guess.
So from here on out, it'll more so be a discussion based thing every like once in a while. So like, there's a topic all three of us want to discuss. We'll do a discussion like this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just the way things are, unfortunately. I mean, it's it's funny because when we did start all this, like I was on a very shitty computer. Now I've got a mega machine.
That's good.
So now everything sounds all squeaky clean. Doesn't sound like I'm coming. I'm speaking out of a 1930s
From the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, otherwise I could sound like Alistair. Hello.
Oh boy, beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, I think it's time to end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the end of this podcast then.
That's done and dusted. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Any
Right.
final words to go out on?
Go follow Henry Badger on Twitter. Go follow Baggy on Twitter.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'll say something. I think I'll say something. This is just literally making this up as I go here, but yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on. We've been doing this for a while, and it's been an honor meeting you guys and being friends with you guys, and
Yeah.
I've met so many wonderful people over these last couple of years through Twitter, through this podcast, and just it's been wonderful. So thank you guys.
Yeah, it's been over 2
I
years.
hope you guys
since
are
we
doing
started.
well. It's been quite the experience. Yeah, it's been 2 years. That's insane. A lot has happened in these 2 years. Probably the most that has happened in my life. Just me just evolving as a person, the things that I've learned, going to school, relationships, just friends, and moving and living and just being who I am. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for being there alongside me, and thanking all the people watching, and just I've met some wonderful people, made some wonderful friends, and I can't thank you guys enough for all that.
Likewise.
Likewise.
Yeah.
You got anything to say, Haruka?
I think McDonald's Big Mac is a bit overpriced, but that's just me.
Fuck you, McDonald's.
I'm more of a Wendy's guy myself. Yeah.
What happened? Hello?
Sorry, family stuff.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah. So I think now's the best time to end this. Thank you all for joining me.
Oh, can I say 4 quick things? 4?
Sure.
All right. Okay. So thank you, for being good people and everything like that. So that's 1. 2. Treat your waifus nice.
Oh my god. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
3. Don't dog the boys. And 4. And finally, fuck you, Debbie.